Yeah, hi. So, hope everyone is doing good. And first of all, happy Thanksgiving and long weekend to everyone. So, hope you guys are everyone is doing great at home. Stay safe and stay healthy. So, let's get into uh, this week's podcast. So, just like every week, normally this is an audio recording of my weekly post which I write up. So, if anyone who is interested in audio version, this is for them. And so basically this is not really like your regular podcast show. This is more about the audio recording of what I have written, but in a much more casual way. So welcome to all of you guys uh, to the Minimalist Techie. That's our podcast name. So you guys can find me on Apple Podcast, or else you can hear the audio on anywhere. Mostly you can find it every any other place where you listen to podcasts. And first thing this week, I would like to say is I'm looking into my Google Analytics feed and also Substack feed. Every week, at least I see more than 70 to 60% of my non-subscriber readers are hitting the site. They might be reading it, but they're definitely not subscribing it. So, guys, normally I don't use Facebook, Twitter a lot. I only connect weekly once where I post my weekly post and I'll simply log out. So it's unnecessary feed on your news feed. It's and even for me, I have unnecessary have to log in. It would be great help if you guys can click that subscribe button so that I'll be showing little less on your Facebook timeline. Anyway, I'm only visible only weekly once. So, but even still, that weekly once, I feel it's a clutter for me. That's the reason this is a request. So let's get into this week's topic. So basically, this week's topics I have written something against which my mind was going through the couple of articles which I was reading, just like as usual, how my newsletter is all about. Basically, what I read, what I analyze sometimes, right? The books which I read. So that this is all the thoughts which come from it. So let's get into the first topic, which is Hyderabad real estate. Yes, we are going to talk about real estate. You all know that I'm an IT professional. Definitely, I'm not a real estate pundit. I'm just sharing my observation over its market. Okay. See, Hyderabad real estate, personally, it's been 7.2 years. So I would say more than that, right? It's almost like 7.6 months or something. 7.5 years for me at least. I have been in US and I have been in Hyderabad only a couple of weeks actually. So I have not the residential prior to 2013. I used to rent a place. I used to then I owned a house. Then I own another house. So I'm a homeowner as well at the same time. So one thing is that I follow the Hyderabad real estate sector for my investment as well. As you guys know that I recommend everyone to save a good amount of money for their retirement savings, and you can do investment in multiple ways. So real estate is one way of doing that investment. So, and again, I'm again saying I'm not a real estate pundit. I'm just sharing my observation over its market, what I have observed in last 1 weeks of my research, as I was planning for another venture. At the same time, I was reading to a couple of articles what's happening in India, what's happening in Hyderabad, especially the COVID situation, how exactly it's impacting uh, people decision, especially related to the housing market. So mostly we'll talk about those. So let's talk about COVID impact first. As seen in US, interest rates have gone down during last these 8 months, right? And it is true in many other countries as well. In US, housing prices are high in cities, and this is same. This is true basically in every country, whatever city you pick it up, right? Majorly in US, this has been a seller market. Even a lot of sales are happening, and compared to the buyer, seller has an upper hand here, as they got they will get many anticipated buyers with an intention to buy, and the seller has more room to choose his choice of buyer. All right, so because he has a much more higher competition now, he can sell it to whoever best pays for it. So one major trend seen here is people have moved to a bigger spaces as they had to move out of their sofa or a kitchen counter as their work table to a designated workspaces in home. So this is not just happening just in US but all over the world, and same is true even for the Hyderabad, right? So as we know, mm, but when we talk about the bigger spaces, unlike in US, we see in town homes, culture, single family homes, bigger spaces, and someone in sitting in a city, then condos moving from one to two, two to three. That's a bigger space for every individual, right? So, but as we know that Indian living, especially in cities, is more of an apartment living. Majority of the people stays in apartments because due to the very high demand for the housing in the city and very less space in the city. And the recent government data, which is published by multiple agencies doing the research again in Hyderabad, it is clearly shown that 3 BHK is the mostly preferred option, which is 3 bedroom apartment, which is the most preferred option among all the buyers compared to the prior year data. So and this is almost like more than like 35. Yes, there are people who have taken 4 as well. They have people who have taken individual villas as well, but I'm talking about the majority of the percentages based upon the data which went. So that is 3 BHK. So yes, people have stopped. Previously I based 2 and 3 hardly 300 200 square feet difference based upon the family size. 2 was also in high demand, but it seems 3 has outshined this year. See, one thing needs to mention here is, unlike in US, where new sales are happening in last 8 months, in Hyderabad the case is different. See, most of the people who got registered or moved into the apartments are mostly of the bookings which were done almost 2 years back, which are ready to move in now. And I don't think anyone is, unless someone is really in the need of it, they are the only one who will be paying such a premium price to buy a home in the area. Or else I would say majority 90% are the people who have booked at least in 2 years back, 3 years back, 1 year back. They are the people who are moving right now. See, as people moving into the bigger spaces, if the remote culture comes in more and more, there is a possibility that even apartment people will also have a living servant in their apartment. Yes, in India, the maid is spent like regular monthly expenses, I would say, just like you pay your electricity bill, they pay their maid bill as well. So, say if both couple in a home and they both go out for a work or they are both doing a remote work at home, they'll be lot busier. This pandemic has shown it, and there is a more chance of having a living servant as an occupant. Actually, this wasn't a luxury before, or it was a mandate or a necessity for us single mothers or single parent, I would say. It was a necessity for them to own a aya or a maid who stays with them 24 by 7 in the same roof. So I guess this is happening more right now, at least from the data which I have gone through. So there is a possibility that if this happens, there is a possibility to see a Mumbai like structure. So in Hyderabad as well, especially the servant room having a separate entrances compared to the main apartment. So I'm not so the 3 bedroom. If you buy a 3 BHK, it's not that you're giving. So construction will be a little bit different. Servant rooms will be a little smaller than your other rooms. It will be compensated in your overall SFT. And these type of apartment structures already there in Bombay and other places. So mostly this is going to happen in Hyderabad if at all this trend gets picked up. And next is gated communities. See, high-rise buildings. These are very common in India. With the COVID-19 situation, many of the senior citizens have definitely faced issues with being at home. See, and the more higher the building, there's a more risk for them, and it has a greater number of people compared to the individual apartment building with a lesser number of flats. Because the more bigger building, very easier that you will be running up and multiple people in the lifts, on the stairs, so on the corridors, more number of people, right? So as more number of the people, there is definitely more work needed to maintain the social distancing. So maybe this COVID, I'm not sure how much it will change, but one guess at least it was the trend. It seems to be, at least from conversations which I have here from a couple of others, is that maybe the next set of buyers will prefer a smaller apartment compared to the high-rise gated communities. Is something to watch out for. Okay? So we'll see if at all this happens, but this has other constraint as well. Uh, right? Hyderabad really doesn't have that much space that so many smaller can come up. The whole point of going that high rise is because of the space issue in the area. So then one another problem in the area is right now is the gated communities India are taking 2 to 4 years uh, at least to start and deliver the projects. So and the markets are so fragile, and as we all know that the real estate market is hot in every city, irrespective of which country you are in. So the markets are so fragile, and every builder tries to increase by 100 by 100 by 200 SFT cost price, and every time one or other, just like stock market, right? One guy buys your stock at 100, then automatically for next person it would little bit higher than 100, then another person it will little even more than that, right? So exactly same. The developers, builders has make sure that hey, the fragility has been caused because of that, and the prices are so high right now. See, unless someone is buying at very early launch phase, only then they are getting value for their money. See, I'm not saying that every city has the price. Yes, every city has the prices of 1 crore, 2 crore, 3 crore, 5 crore, 6 crore, whatever you can shell it out, right? So I'm not saying, but my thing is, I'm saying that if only thing is that there has to something, right? You are spending say 1 crore, eh, that particular property should also worth for that particular money, right? That location should be worth for that money. Say the location is not really worth for that 1 crore, maybe the only worth is 70 or 60K, but because of the market fluctuation, you have to pay that extra premium price. But again, one biggest problem is there is a possibility that you can get your value for your money only the case if at all you're booking in a very starting launch price. Only then you can get the best price. If not, it's all dependent upon the market, and mostly the way they control is whenever it goes up, it simply goes up, but whenever market comes down, they stale their sales process. So then the value never comes down. They simply stall. As it definitely have, we have seen it in 2009 when entire the recession has created so many construction get stopped or completed constructions people are not buying. But especially in the cities, especially in Hyderabad, many of the developers has kept their flats even for a 1 year empty-handed. It took more than a 1.5 year keeping them in a empty. Then when the interest rate started getting them hit very high, then they came down actually. Then they corrected the price in 2011, something around that phase. So one thing is there has to be value for the money as well, right? See, also the bigger the gated community, the bigger the maintenance fees. So this is one more additional expense for the premium price one must be paying for. So well, people will go back to the individual apartments where the builder can deliver in the project in 6 months, or we really have a serious problem with the home construction in India, as no big builder can deliver a project on time, even when they are running more than 2 years of build schedule as well. See, Hyderabad also have very serious space problem like any other city in India. The places like SP Road on Secunderabad, Amirpet, Panjagutta, Sarnagar. So these, I would say, these places not even have an inch of space to construct a new buildings. So the only option is to demolish the existing one and construct the new buildings. So this space also raises a question about small apartment complexes, right? See, the space is not there. with the current density in a city, it's not possible to construct those small complexes. So, what are the people who are thinking of moving out of these high-rise buildings and moving to less crowded, smaller buildings? Problem is that either they have to move to a certain area where still real estate is not still up, still some land is available to build. Definitely not in a premium location areas. See, and if you are not in Hyderabad, especially, because at least I am there in Hyderabad since 2007, and prior till 2013, and 13 is when I came to US. So at least the way I have seen it is Hyderabad, even even in a US, my parents stays in Hyderabad, so I'm aware of the culture. Even I have some investments in Hyderabad in the real estate. So real estate in Hyderabad, especially the small space apartment sizes were always been rejected compared to the other Indian cities. And the it's like Bangalore, you can see a 650 square feet two bedroom, you can see 800 square feet three bedroom. So with the current inflation and the prices the way the currently being inflated so high that if the builder has to sell for a middle class income people, right, who will not be able to pay that much amount of inflated values, then I guess builder has to accept the small spaces where they'll be end up constructing just like other cities, Bangalore and Hyderabad as well, that 800 square feet with the 3 BHKs. As not every buyer will be able to sell such a high premium prices. So this is for sure going to happen soon in the Hyderabad construction site. Okay, in all this, definitely we have to talk about the price. As I said, the home prices are little ridiculous right now. They are still maintaining the pre-COVID rates, 2019 ups, and 2020 they still increased a little bit more. Even no one is buying, no new ventures are getting started. Much of the construction was stopped, and and who are you looking right now for the new launch? They are saying 2024, 2025 as their project delivery. So that's ridiculous. Uh, that's ridiculous wait time, right? Yes, see, I'm a homeowner myself, and I'm a debt free. So this is not really a rant because my investments. I'm debt free. I don't have any loans or anything. They're fully been paid, and my own investments actually went high. If you, it's not like I'm ranting about the high prices. Actually, my own investment went very high. I should be feeling pretty great about it, right? I'm in a profit side. If I sell it, I'll be making pretty good money in it in the market. See, but I see this is a very bad for a economy. And if you remember our prior post, we discussed about the book name "The Good Economics for Hard Times," right? The one which was written by some Harvard or some Abhijit was his author's name. So at such a sky high prices, buyer with a home loan, they will sell more than 40% of their monthly incomes towards a home loan every month if they are buying at this particular high prices. So if the 40% of their monthly income are going towards a home loan itself, then basically what that will have a ripple effect on rest of how that particular income is been spent. They'll make bad food choices. They may be making even for the basics. I say food, clothing, transportation. Like take an example. Uh, hardly any money is left out after that particular EMI, then someone really want to buy an environmental friendly hybrid car, electric car, right? It's not possible. They might be choosing the lowest option, which will get their job done, right? If someone is picking up a diesel car, right, which will get their job done, and that's what it can come in their income level, but it will pollute more as it comes with a lesser price compared to the electric and hybrid. And all this type of bad choices, not just car was one of the example. And whenever they'll make such a bad choices, this will actually have a huge impact on the climate change, as we have read it from that particular article or from that particular book as well. And see, and this will impact climate and economy. And one more thing is, we already know developing countries are the one which are who are very hugely impacted by the climate change. It is already known, and the way the carbon emissions, they cannot be controlled in developing countries because they don't have an income like developed countries. That's what in remember in 2015 and 2016 the Paris summit, Indian government directly asked the developed countries to lend the money so that they can start implementing. If not, right now they don't even have a budget. They don't even plan to think about strategize their emissions till 2023 2024 as well. So we will be way late, which is already known. So, so just like either the city requires a price correction or will result into the economic failure, just like in 2008 recession, which will correct it. I hope a recession doesn't happen because that is going to bleed a country a lot, and that is going to bleed and create implication for hardworking people who depends upon month to month pay. Yeah. So for sure prices needs to get corrected. If not, it's getting to be impossible for a middle class sector to buy in a homes. And let's talk about the quality because we talked about the price. I would quality at such a prices, I would say the quality is a joke for these prices. Yeah, literally they are literally a joke. So in the above correction, if the builder really want to sustain in this particular real estate market longer, and they want to sustain any economic up and down in the later decades, for sure they must improve their quality of the for the price what they are asking for. If someone is really asking 1 crore, 2 crore, 3 crore, 10 crore, they have to make sure that that quality is in there in their product, right? Else, this decade winner will be picking peanuts in the next decade. Already we have seen history has already shown as an example 2008 recession. Many of the real estate developers who have been there prior to the 2008, they don't even exist right now. There are very few, right? So that's the reason. And even right now with the COVID-19 situation, constructions being stopped, people will completely rethink what home to buy, which locations to go for, and that is going to change sector. If quality is not maintained for the prices which are being asked for, I think if they don't improve the quality, then definitely they have to ready to die with the market downturn whenever it's going to happen. Eh? Quality is something not one or two step process for them. I would say the prices what have been asked in the area, uh, they definitely have to completely relook at it in order to improvise their product quality. Yeah. Let me know what else you see next for the city. That is, you would call it as a rant, or definitely not a rant. That's just a high level of observations. What I see for the real estate market currently is going on in Hyderabad city. So, our second topic we'll talk about this one is about the Indian men. Yes, this is about us. See, in an Indian society, men are expected to earn very high, and even till date, there are many who are a single earner for their entire family. India has this culture since many decades, and it is not new to many, right? Even our grandpa, our dad, even now us, we are familiar. We are familiar with this situation. We all have been, and we all in the been there, done there, and in their situation, right? So why I'm talking about this is I have been reading a lot of career books lately. So this is my common thought every time I finish a career book. I see a vague gap to relate the book advice to an Indian man. See, and if you read any of the career book, yes, they talk about uh, equality in the gender, but especially for Indian men, unlike Western culture, the case is different here. See, they are expected to earn more than their working partner. They cannot think of even a small career gaps to switch careers to a different work than the skills which they don't even belong to, right? So, if like someone wants to move from one industry to completely another industry, uh, that thought itself is going to be killed even before the person dreams about it by someone else or by their own fear will kill it. The career 2.0, the various topics like which we read in books, even with the one which are written by the Indian authors, like this is how one have to plan the career and all that. None sees this from the hardworking Indian working men's eyes. Men who even have a backup of their working partner uh, to think of in a career 2.0. I would say forget that. Even a job change will scare his uncertainty into the new organization. See, as not working label for a man is treated as failure actually, right? And unlike in the Western culture, in India, treated, you'll put on a label as a failure candidate. So it is very hard for them to take a career risk, and it's a real data. Read any LinkedIn geographical location, how certain age group is doing in Western culture compared to the Indian culture. You can clearly see that the number of different the way career risks are taken by an Indian men are way less as they grow in their career compared to the men of the same age group in different countries. Yes, the books has lot of good advice and all that, but I definitely am interested to read someone who can really write something which can relate to the Indian men, looking at the Indian reality. Right? So let me know. Even you see those advices on career shared to an Westerner or even for an Indian. At least for me, they never match with the Indian reality. Okay. So, and see couple and not if you see all of these things what we are talking about, the men are literally been pressurized uh, to keep working with a higher pay scale for whatever reason it is. One thing is it's pretty evident, scientific data is showing. Look at one of the statistic graphs, which is shown that 89% of an Indian working men are having a high level of stress. Many of the men they don't even are aware of that they are having the high blood pressure or high blood pressure scenario in them, and many are not even treated. They are not even aware actually that they have this problem. And cardiac diseases in men, I'm just going to give you the government link that is going to tell how the the chronic disease in India, it's more like an epidemic. How the Indian population is suffering, and especially the men. If you look at the particular percentages in the chart, which I am going to, I'll post that link. You can have exact percentages by the age group as well. It's going to shock you. So I'm not talking much more. That yes, definitely it is more stressful for the Indian men to work, but I really wish the reality is understood by the fellow partners, family members, so this issue can be resolved. See, just as a talking about these things on and giving a wishes on Men's Day or Women's Day or a Mother's Day doesn't do anything for anyone. We all know about it. First thing is, please come back to the ground level. Reality needs to get fixed. That's all I can say about it. Yeah. Anyhow, this topic I was not pretty detailed. This is just like I was reading, and every time I read a couple of book and I read 3 or 4 newsletter articles. My thought was okay, that's pretty good advice, but our situation is different. When I say like Indian men situation is different, our risk factor is different. We see career completely different than the rest of the world, I would say. That was definitely I always felt that that book advice was not relatable and was not matching to the reality of an Indian man. Hmm. Moving on to our third topic. So this is high performing teams need a psychological safety. So see, we can never build a team without having a strong trust within the team, right? So every team member have to trust each other. Only when they psychologically feel safe, only then we can create high performing teams. See, if we can make every individual psychological safe in a team, it will allow individual team member to take a moderate risk within the team, which can actually gives a room for a new ideas. Team can actually speak up to their mind without being fear of being judged, right? So sometimes when people can speak up, uh, say even they're saying something wrong, people get afraid of taking that as a bad feedback or bad solution, which may going to impact their career, so they never share the ideas as well. So if you keep the psychological safe environment, people can simply speak up their mind without being fear of being judged, and this is going to improve creativity within team as well. See, actually, it is in our human behavior why teams automatically do not gain this safety. Like ideally, everyone should psychologically feel safe, right? You're coming to a safe location and working, but this is a psychological safety we are talking, not the physical safety. And not every team, it's not like automatically everyone will have it. As each individual behavior is unique, everyone will react differently in the team. See, when someone is challenged in a team or pointed out or having a disagreement, the human minds react first and later on thinks. So in so oxytocin, so this is one of the chemical in our body. Actually, this particular chemical actually it generates more when you do a positive thinking, you have a positive attitude, you have a growth mindset, and it releases more and more as we allow our mind to think in a growth like mindset. And this particular chemical, when it generate more, the mind will be much more creative, much more growth mindset. So this is proven by science itself that it plays very important, this particular chemical plays very important role in our social behavior, our trust, within the trust between multiple people, like your anxiety levels, and like mother and infant bonding. This is one of the most, this is the chemical which generates between a mother and infant when they bond. So because that's a positive attitude, that happiness, right? So the oxytocin is produced at that point of time. So only thing is that, so in a team we have to create certain situations, or else team should be feeling safe, right? Only then this particular chemical will be running high. uh, when someone points out other person or they challenge someone, rather than simply mindlessly reacting, rather take a step back and analyze what exactly the ask is, and respond with a proper detail, so that team can do a group discussion about it, right? So communication should be inclusive rather than pointing out someone. So Harvard Business actually did a wonderful article on this, how to gain your team trust so they feel psychological safe. I will leave that link in the show notes. Basically, the high level steps we'll discuss in the podcast, and which is approach conflict as a collaborator. So whenever in a team someone is having a conflict, so don't pinpoint or don't be a simple aside standby person and watch the fight. Okay, so approach the particular conflict as in a collaborator. Try to resolve it as in a team. Be a human and speak one to one as a human. Anticipate reactions and plan counter moves ahead. See, when you are discussing something with a team, you're already aware of your team members, and everyone's reaction will be different when certain type of news is been shared. So whatever you're presenting, like maybe you're presenting something, some solution, just anticipate some reactions and plan your responses ahead, what people can ask, so that you'll be in a better position while doing your presentations within the team. And for sure, within the team, avoid blame game. Always be inclusive in the team communication. It doesn't matter if it's someone's fault. At least just discuss what exactly it is required to, in order to improve, right? And So that will actually I would say that will actually improve multiple things, right? So when you just talk everything as an inclusive, you don't pinpoint, you talk about improvisation, self learning, and people will upskill and easily upskill based upon the project requirements, so because they'll feel inclusive, they'll be part of the show. And whenever you're presenting something in your team, please make sure you are taking the feedback in every meeting, so they feel inclusive in whatever the discussion it is. See, even if it is just a mandate order, which say yeah, that task needs to get done and you're assigning to someone, even it's mandate to done, communicate in a way that everyone feels inclusive and take a feedback. Even for those mandate orders, the task which needs to be get done as well, be open minded even for those type of requests. If someone gives them a feedback, that this is the whole point, right? We want to make sure that everyone feels safe. So be open minded so that you're even on those order, if it makes sense, then adapt accordingly. Measure psychological safety. Have a team take anonymous surveys. So any issues, any blame game, something else is happening, what are we talking about, any conflicts, they can come into the limelight. So if you do like at a high level these type of steps, and please make, we have to revisit every now and then, and following these high level steps, and this will actually enable your team to feel psychologically safe. Remember, high performing teams are not available ready in the market, they are made every day in the team. Okay? So that is all for this week. I will see you again. So this is our show, Minimalist Techie. This is an audio version of my articles, which I write it on sridharkargipati.substack.com. Yes, my name sridharkargipati.substack.com. And if you listen to, if you like to hear on the audio podcast, then yes, you can find me on Apple Podcast as Minimalist Techie, or you can find me anywhere on other podcast sites as well, wherever you listen to. Show name is Minimalist Techie. So do let me know how exactly you like this particular article, if you're reading it or if you're just hearing the audio version of it. Let me know what you thought about it. And just like, so share, like, subscribe, whatever these days kids says. uh, See you again. So stay connected, share ideas, and spread happiness.